Hello everybody, welcome back to another One Piece Burning Blood video. My name is Silvokiji, and this is TheZoneGamingGo. So we talked about rushdown teams, we talked about stall teams, but today we're talking about a category I invented myself called charge teams. You probably won't know what a charge team is since it's a category that is completely original. What a charge team is a charge team is a certain team that focuses on one character primarily. This is not the same as a normal team format. As you have an anchor type character, it's a little bit different. When you have an anchor, your anchor is someone you rely on for the end of the match, but it's not someone who primarily participates in the ongoing battle, you know? But in a charge team, your charge character is the character that you absolutely do not want to die. This character is always either staying in the back, coming out when they absolutely need to, and they are there to do their thing and leave. One of the most common charge teams consists of Shanks, as you probably recognize that. So let me first give you some little terms that I created for this sort of format, or sort of team format, so you can actually recognize what we're talking about the video. So the charger is the name of the character that actually is the one you rely on. And the two characters that back them up, usually in the first and second slot, just by, you know, second slot really doesn't matter. Second and third slot really doesn't matter unless you're going up against Blackbeard, Aki Inu, or, who's the other guy? Kuma. Is the lines. So when you're making a charge team, or you have a charge team, think about who characters are your lines, and then what character is ultimately going to be your charger. Now, can you have two chargers? Yes. Can you have more than, can you have one line? Yes. Is it recommended? I don't know. It's a team. I've just made this up. I mean, I don't really know. Could be. So let's talk about a couple of team compositions so that we can kind of get an idea about what a charger is, and also give you a couple of tips if you want to make a charge team or simply just want to fight against them properly. Okay, so this guy, ASAP. One of the new people in Season 4. Charge teams didn't actually come into the making primarily until Season 4. We did have one charge team happening around late Season 3, maybe? But Season 4 was when they ultimately actually came into the making. Now, anchors did exist before then, but not to this extent, so a new category had been created to basically dignify or give credit to these teams. This first team I'm going to be telling you is ASAP. Now, ASAP is one of the main Season 4 people who actually has multiple substitutions. So I'm not going to go over all the subs that he actually has for these teams, but I will in fact tell you that due to the making of who he's going up against or who he's actually fighting, he does have multiple characters he switches out in the first slot. For the first team composition, we'll be going over Ace Strong Style, Ace, and Frankie. Frankie being the charger of the team, and Ace and Ace Strong Style both being the lines. Now, excellent line characters, as both these characters do very good anti in terms of getting rushed down, allowing Frankie to give the pressure he needs to go into his awakening. And that's kind of where the charger actually comes to play. With these two characters giving defensive properties and keeping people back, as well as dealing big damage, the ultimate damage, ultimately, the damage is going to come from Frankie going to his awakening and activating that Coup de Burst. What's it called? It's called Coup de Burst? Ooh. I don't even know what his ultimate is called. Ooh, that's bad. Oh well. We'll call it Frankie Blast. So, so ultimately that's where it's kind of lead to. And you're wondering, so even though Ace and Ace Strong Style can do very good anti-pressure and stuff, ultimately it comes through that Flame Fist. Flame Fist does a ton of damage, but it also provides a ton of meter. Remember, in this game, the more damage you deal, the more meter you get, and that also is the same with the support he has in his making. Dragon support and Kobe work really well with this. Kobe giving you more burning gauge the more damage you deal. With Ace and Ace Strong Style both dealing out huge amounts of damage from Flame Fist, he's probably able to get burning gauge so much faster than any normal character would ever do because of those two Flame Fist combination characters. And because he has two, he has more opportunities for it. But the MVP of this whole team is Monkey D. Dragon. Dragon support, when your opponent is at 30% life, you get a burning gauge procced already. Now, this is good because when he does a combo with Ace or Ace Strong Style, which are known to deal big damage with Flame Fist, 30% goes all the way up. Frankie has access to Frankie's Shogun. And this helps him tremendously because what this team composition does for the support is that it allows for an easy access to that charger. Basically, what a charger essentially is a character that is relied on getting burning gauge from other characters. Technically, but not really. I mean, it depends. He might not be burning gauge you're trying to get to be a charger, but in this case, he's going with the burning gauge variant. There is a team we're going to go over that is non-burning gauge variant for charger, and we'll get to that. That's going to be the third team we're talking about. But LeBron is easy access, just not easy access, but LeBron is just insurance basically. Okay, so we got Ace and Ace Strong Style here. If those two characters die, eventually, some point, Frankie's out here. He now has +4 defense. Now, Frankie's Shogun goes to +4 defense. Remember, when you're actually in giant form, you take less damage, which means even if Frank is a little bit low on HP, if that character he's fighting against, the last character he decides is basically just moving, sidestepping, doing something not supposed to do, he can immediately transform, go into Frankie's Shogun, kill them with that ultimate, and end the match. So in most cases, it's kind of relied on Ace Strong Style kind of weakening the team, so that way Frankie can get that easy, quick punish. Because at that point, the ultimate is not really like as much as a combo ultimate. It's more of a punish, and that's kind of where I can see this team going at. It's very punish heavy. You mess up, you get destroyed. That's where it's going. And for a couple of team swaps, I do believe what ASAP did tell me. I told him I wasn't going to go through all the variants, but I'll go through a couple. So sometimes ASAP will switch out Ace Strong Style for Shanks, and Shanks works as an excellent charger as well as a line here. Fuji also works as a good line, not so much of a charger, but a line he works really well at. And those two characters kind of focus, being ahead. Now Ace actually stays into the battle, so he just kind of, I guess he's a character that ASAP loves playing with. And the way he does play his Ace is a little bit different. He keeps more of Ace's anti-rushdown to himself, and kind of primarily focuses on using range moves to kind of put his opponent back. Because what I can see going on is that it's a punish heavy team. You mess up, you get punished. And when he has Dragon support as well as Kobe, any punish he gets will give him access to what he really wants, and that will move it into Frankie's Shogun. Now, I'm not saying that he can't fight with anybody but Frankie's Shogun. That's not what I'm saying. I'm pointing out that's just the kind of nature of the charge team. Even if Frankie does die first, even though no one wants that, you still have access to Ace, which is still a pretty good anchor in his own right. Okay, so let's move on to the next team compositions here. We're going to go ahead and do Rose, aka Shadow Kirby. Now, Shadow Kirby technically isn't Season 4. Shadow Kirby is technically Season 2. But he was not in Season 3, and he wasn't in early Season 4. He kind of popped up a little bit later. And when I first saw his team, I was kind of astonished. Now, ASAP's team astonished me too, just because he had Dragon support in LeBron, because that's not something you see from Seasons 1 through 3. Back then in Season 1, you saw most of meta. Then you saw Season 2, you saw the meta kind of dying. And then gradually, what I really love, TheZoneGamingGo, as what it's been doing, is that it's been collecting players of different natures, and so the meta has actually been consistently changing. So people come in, veterans come in, and they're like, oh, it's Tessero, Garp, Shanks, Marker, right? People come in with those. People come in with those characters. They come in expecting to win. Not anymore. That's been slowly changing. It is not the same anymore. We're getting different team compositions. People are learning more and more how to beat these characters. And I'm not saying you can't play as these characters. I'm just saying the way that people have been playing as those characters have been the way to win. But people have been learning how to play against those characters. So the easy method that people have been utilizing before is not working anymore. It's just not working. So the only people that I've seen using those characters now are people who actually gain knowledge of those characters' movesets very well and is actually still playing as them. I believe we have a Marco main in the community. So there's a lot of things happening there. So let's go back to Rose. So Rose charge team is kind of similar to ASAP's. We're seeing Lawduel and Zoroshura as both the lines here, and then we're seeing Luffy 2 years ago as the charger. Why this is weird? Okay, so before ASAP had Frankie, and him picking Frankie is weird because we don't see Frankie mains. Now, Rohawk and T-Bass have both selected Frankie as characters, and I use Frankie as a sub for my stall-based team, instead of Gecko sometimes. But I've never actually seen a Frankie main, and I have never seen a Luffy 2 years ago main. Now, the thing about Luffy 2 years ago main, being a charger here. The last Luffy 2 years ago that we actually had was not really all that good, and he kind of dropped Luffy 2 years ago after one of the tournaments. But what I've seen from Rose is that he actually has practice with the character and utilizes the character greatly. Now, why this character is so hard to use as a charger is because it's very tempting all the time to bring him in the form of Unity Chain. And when you bring him in the form of Unity Chain, it kind of opens them up to pressure when the Unity Chain is over, especially against Loki-based characters or characters with Conqueror's Haki. So what I've seen actually from Rose is utilizing Law Duel as kind of like the starter, giving him some space to open up room, you know, getting that burn engage with this character, and then focusing on Zoroark combo. So his damage is actually split between all three of his characters, but primarily what we see from Luffy 2 years ago is the raw damage. We're going to kind of get why he is the charger of this team. So all three of his characters participate in combos, all three of his characters participate in fighting, but ultimately the charge is Luffy 2 years ago. So let's go to his support to actually kind of look at that. I was very, very surprised when I saw this. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw Mr. One or Bones in a support list. What Bones does is he gives you +2 in Awakening. What Kiros does right here at the end is that he gives you +2 every time a character on your team dies. When Law Duel and Zoroark are both defeated on this team, he gets +4. Ultimately, this is what he wants. Now, he doesn't have to go for this since they're still dead characters, but ultimately, if those two characters die, it's good. Because you're looking at +2, you're looking at +4, you have total a +6 gear second Luffy 2 years ago. Now, Luffy 2 years ago at gear second regularly is difficult because he's the fastest character in the game, very difficult to punish, his damage is absurd. But when he gets +6, he has a 100% combo by himself. Just like that. He touches you, you're dead. That's just literally how it is. That is why this character works as an excellent charger. Now, the way that Rose did it is to make it so if he is losing, he can still win. It's a comeback. This is a very good comeback awakening mechanic, and this is like one of the prime examples of a charging team, and that is one of the reasons that I had to put him as an example for this charge video, because using these charge characters or even making a charge character, and this is when it becomes a very weird category, because a charge is not an actual category. Like I said, the three last team types are going to be categories that I've created to kind of work with the One Piece Burning Blood community, but charge, I literally have to say that this concept was primarily made from what I saw with him saying, okay, this is a thing. Okay, Luffy 2 years ago works as an excellent anchor, and so does Zoroark as an excellent anchor. Now, Zoroark is the one in Burn Engage with +6. He can still make something happen. Law Duel can make something happen, but primarily, you want that Luffy 2 years ago to actually do it. So I'm looking at Kobe still. Kobe makes it easy to kind of get to that awakening. You know, if you go ahead and use it in the end and kind of proc away, then you can get it. But I'm just surprised with support. I think he's the only person in the community who actually uses bone support, and he does it in a very excellent way. Just had to comment that on the side. Okay, moving on here from this team composition, we're going to the last team comp, which is going to be Fortune. Fortune is a veteran from season 1, one of the first players actually wait, he's number 5. I think he's the 5th person in the TheZoneGamingGo community. And this team is season 4. He did not play this team season 3. Season 4 coming in as an anchor. Now, this is the first example of a charge team that doesn't actually have a reliant up on Awakening, and it is the Gear 4 Luffy. So Gear 4 Luffy being here actually can make this team a charged team. Now, Gear 4 Luffy is defeated, you know, out of the picture. Maybe he does something else. This team can go stall. I did mention before that this team has access to stall, but it can be used as a charge team as well. So it can go back and forth. Now, you don't really want to go between stall and charge back and forth in a match because you're going to not do something right, but access. And what this access does give is Caesar Clown able to do certain combos, knock people up in the air, as well as start Unity Chains in a very slippery manner, is giving Luffy Gear 4 the ability to kind of come in, do his really big damage because of the +2 from Org, and deal so much Now, I said so much match, so much. Now, the thing too is that Gear 4 Luffy is notorious for not being a good 1v1 character, and that's usually because he's a big character, and big characters in general are seen as kind of like, nah, they don't want to be in a 1v1 situation. This is one of those teams that primarily wants all their people to be kept alive at all times. So we're going to see a lot of switch outs, we're going to see a lot of diversity in terms of what style we're going to go through, and it kind of helps in that matter. When you have Kid here too, with that +2 and level 2 arm, it does make him a stall. So like I said, that's why I say it can go back and forth, because Kid can make the team a stall, Gear 4 Luffy can make the team a charge. Now Sento is life, so this is where it also gets a little bit freaky. Now all the characters, like I said, all the characters want to be left alive, and Sento helps with that as well, especially with that -1 at work. This is kind of like a cover-based situation. Like, Fortune's an excellent player. He's one of the best players in the TheZoneGamingGo community, and when I mean by best, I mean in terms of like win-loss ratio, it's pretty good. Okay, he has a really good win-loss ratio. But other than that, this is just one of the teams I wanted to describe. Now, if you have any questions about charge-based teams and what the concept actually means, please let me know in the comments, or just simply talk to me in Discord and kind of get through. But to end the video, I would like to talk about how to actually identify charge-based teams a little bit again. Charge-based teams can be identified by locating if the person you're going against has a charger. If you're constantly seeing that character a lot in the team, or you're seeing that character come in as the last character for an awakening, differentiate between them as a charger. Now, if you're confused that if the character is an anchor or a charger and an anchor, or like either or, something like that, or just an anchor, make sure you also look at the two characters they actually have on their team. If those two characters look like they're kind of just following along, then those are the lines. Now, you're probably wondering, wait, can I just change the way I play? I said, yeah, you can change the way you play, but ultimately, when you make a team composition type, or when you make or you try to actually change the way you play in the game, you're going to mentally actually kind of go what you originally planned for. If you have another idea, then you're going to be going technically into another category. Like, you're just going to be switching between the different styles and everything, and that's okay and fine and dandy, but ultimately, I'm trying to try to give you the ability to decipher if a team is a charge or not. Okay, have any questions again, please let me know in Discord or in a comment. Until then, enjoy playing One Piece Burning Blood. I left something out that I really need to put in the video. I am so sorry. One of the ways you can actually defeat charge-based teams is by actually locating the charger in the team. If you can locate the charger in the team, then you can perhaps actually stop the team from actually working out what they worked out. Now, just because you located the charger in the team doesn't mean it's going to be easy to actually get that character out of there. Because most of the time, of course, not most of the time, all the time, the person you're going up against knows who their charger is and will definitely be trying to keep the character alive. Now, as a charge team player, you need to think about a lot about what characters you're playing, what your charge, what your lines are going to be, and basically try to fit your lines with your charger so you can prevent that stuff from actually going on. You want to be able to have this access to, I can play stall if I need to, or I can play rush down if I need to. You want to be going back and forth with that, put a little bit of that while your charge is building up to actually win you games. Okay, that's it. Now we can end the video.